welcome to the Midseason Showdown here for the last Moon Series event. I'm not the only one, having the sigh of relief for that. As always, I'm Regina. This is Arnie.
Hi.
Thank you guys for joining us. We have 6 rounds today. It'll be fun. We also have a couple other side events. We've got Splatoon 2 and Super Smash Bros. Coming alongside later. So hopefully you guys are going to get tired of my voice because I will be here for Splatoon 2 at least. Round 1's gonna be fun.
Yeah, Terry and Kyle going head to head, and we knew that there was gonna be a Zygarde on the stream at one point.
Yeah, we were definitely just like between the two choices for stream, we've got either Zygarde on either side. So obviously, Kyle and Terry very well-known players. Kyle and Terry actually Terry kind of switching up a little bit on the team, but Kyle,
Well, we see Terry there on the right with the Solgaleo, Zygarde, Tapu Fini, Volcarona, Incineroar, and Toxicroak. Kyle carrying Kyogre, Amoonguss, Tornadus, Sarina, Yveltal, and Incineroar. So we got that really confident Tornogre combo on Kyle's side. That's been coming back a little bit more, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, Yveltal is just kind of like a classic Pokemon to have right now. Assaultless Yveltal has been just absolutely terrifying. And, it's just been one of those things where Yveltal has just been slowly climbing despite Xerneas having been such a big threat at the beginning, and Terry kind of switching up a little bit, having Bullhorn as well. So we'll see a little bit of a change in strategy from him, most likely.
Well, we're going to see Terry lead with Tapu Fini and Toxicroak, while Kyle goes for the Sarina Kyogre combo. And that's very scary with Faint Water Spout. That's just deadly, but you have that Toxicroak, so that's going to kind of counter it there.
And Kyogre's Drizzle is coming up first on here, so getting the rain. Going to be a really fast Kyogre, but obviously all the Pokemon here are going to be a little bit slower as Mr. Terry is on the field. So Terry kind of leading really nicely because Water Spout isn't going to be doing as much damage to either of these Pokemon. Dry Skin on Toxicroak's side is going to make sure that there's no damage there. Whereas Tapu Fini can actually take a little bit of Water Spouts very nicely. Kyle's leading with that Serena, also a good choice though.
Yeah, but we're going to see that Kyogre switch out, which is pretty good against Terry's two things that really aren't affected by Water Spout. Coming in with the Incineroar, putting the Intimidate pressure now on Toxicroak, and Fake Out possible on either one of Terry's Pokemon. It could go either way with that. We're going to see Tapu Fini from Terry's side switch out, though, to Zygarde, and with the Misty Terrain setup, that Psychic Seed is going to activate. And now this is the first step of making Zygarde an unstoppable force. Sarina going to go for the Seed Bomb, which is a bit of an interesting choice over Power Whip, but we're going to see it hit that Zygarde. And Poison Jab coming out from Toxicroak to finish off Sarina, or at least cripple it enough where one more hit will knock it out.
Yeah, what's really nice is the Intimidate from that Incineroar is going to make sure that Poison Jab didn't do as much damage.
Yep.
So what's really nice is that Seed Bomb is going to make sure you hit more often than Power Whip, not be as powerful, but getting some of the damage onto the Zygarde on the switch is also going to be really nice for Kyle, because at least he makes it harder for Terry to try to set up here, because Terry's going to have to pivot a little bit more to help that Zygarde.
And like you said, he's going to need to pivot, and he's going to pivot that Toxicroak out into his final Pokemon, Incineroar, getting an Intimidate on both of Kyle's Pokemon as well. In addition, those Sarinas on the field, you can't have Fake Out, but Kyle can use Fake Out, and that's going to go onto Zygarde, preventing it from doing whatever it wanted to do. Sarina going to U-turn out, but that now means Terry has that Fake Out pressure for the next turn. And we're going to see Kyle can go in now safely with Kyogre like that. It's definitely going to be a bit better to use that Water Spout on something that's weak to it.
This is actually going to be a really tough spot for Terry, because now that you have the Kyogre in and you have the Serena in the back, there's nothing really stopping Kyle from switching out the Incineroar on his side to bring Serena back in and get that Queenly Majesty back on the field. So Terry's either going to be forced to sacrifice a Pokemon here and then protect the Zygarde, if that's going to be his choice, or let that Incineroar go.
And like you said, protect the Zygarde. That's exactly what happened. So Terry going to make sure that Zygarde survives to live another day. It looks like that Incineroar is not going to, thanks to this Water Spout, though. And that is going to do that massive amount of damage, gets rid of it for good, and Terry now has to go into something else. In addition, we're going to see something from Kyle. We're going to see U-turn attempt at least, but thanks to Zygarde to protect that Incineroar staying on the field for another turn.
We'll probably see the Tapu Fini come in here because the Fake Out pressure is gone, but now you're going to be able to try to stop that Kyogre, and that's going to be your main priority. Terry's kind of in a tough spot here because he's kind of allowing how to pivot in a better position. Zygarde hasn't been set up yet. It's got the +2 to special defense, but a full health Water Spout from Kyogre, no Fake Out on Terry's side, and like the threat of a Serena in the back for switching for potential Fake Outs on Terry's side is also going to make it harder for Terry to kind of have this Zygarde, which is such a strong Pokemon, to be able to set up. Like, it's just barely out of the range where it'll be in its complete form as well. So Kyle, I think, has a little bit of an upper hand here, and not just Pokemon-wise, but positioning-wise as well. So Terry's going to have to really consider what he's going to do to be able to get these 3 Pokemon and get that Zygarde where it needs to be.
I agree 100%, especially with Kyogre here without Water Spout. Now, I'm wondering if this is going to knock out the Zygarde at half health with a full power Kyogre in the rain. It doesn't, but That is a very defensive Zygarde, and a light screen gonna help Zygarde out a little bit from that Tapu Fini on Terry's side. And we see the Coil, plus Zygarde will go to complete form at the end of this turn. But Incineroar still has a move, and it could U-turn out. It looks like we're gonna see that. It will go onto the Zygarde, so oh my gosh, just barely surviving this Zygarde with literally 1 HP. It looks like, at least. And Incineroar is now gonna be able to pivot out, get Kyle in a better position on that left side. And we're gonna see that switch into Sarina once again.
It was really nice that the Intimidate earlier from Terry's own Incineroar definitely helped with that U-turn damage. So, like you said, complete form is going to be up now for Zygarde. The thing here is Terry also has Light Screen up, so he's going to be taking less damage again from that Water Spout. He's going to be able to go for a Heal Pulse, which is, if he's running the same Tapu Fini set that he's been running this entire time, it is going to be a Heal Pulse set. Because when you have a team like this that relies heavily on Zygarde, you're going to want a way to get that HP back up as you're setting up that Zygarde, because you don't want all those boosts to go away. The problem is, though, that Kyle's Kyogre, which is the heavy hitter on his side, hasn't taken any damage, and if Terry doesn't stop it, he's gonna get steamrolled or just, you know, flooded out by Water Spout.
Yeah,
I'm trying to come up with puns today. It's gonna be really tough, guys.
Well, I'm wondering if this Water Spout is gonna get rid of this Zygarde. It's down to around 30 or so health, or 30% in health. We see Feint from Sarina on the top of Fini. Wants to make sure it does not survive this Water Spout, getting a little bit more chip damage on it. And the Water Spout, both of them will survive, however. And we see the berry on top of Fini, so that's the first bit of recovery we're seeing. And like you said, we're most likely going to see that Heal Pulse from Tapu Fini. There it is, and that means that Zygarde is going to be able to take a lot more Water Spouts now. And I think Terry might have just fixed his mistakes from earlier, now in a much better position. Has, I think, +2 in attack from Coil, so definitely in a tough spot for to counter.
I mean, I think Kyle's still like in a really okay spot. He's gonna have to get this Kyogre out to get that boost from the rain later on again. But Terry's gonna be in that position where he has to start having those attacks out before Light Screen ends, because he's gonna want to make sure that he doesn't take the full force of Water Spout. Whereas like Kyle has more options to be able to pivot. Terry's Tapu Fini has already consumed its berry. You've got like the last Pokemon in the back now that whatever Kyle's going to attack, it's going to be okay for him, especially with that Sarina. So yeah. Kyle, I think, still has a little bit of an upper hand here, and Terry's still going to have to figure out a better way to put himself in.
We're going to see the Yveltal from Kyle, so any ground attack from Terry is not going to be effective thanks to that Dark Aura. This Yveltal is also going to be able to do some massive damage here onto the Zygarde with any dark move that might work, because Yveltal's more physical. Like you were saying, though, just a second ago, 1,000 Arrows will knock Yveltal down, so I just take that back about Yveltal not being hit by ground attack quite yet. Sarina goes for that U-turn onto the Zygarde, and we also saw the Toxicroak switch in. Now Kyogre's coming back, Rain's reset, and from what we've seen, it looks like Kyle might be Scarfed, so I think that's a bit trickier to counter here, especially since one more Water Spout might be enough to take out the Zygarde. The 1,000 Arrows, though, is going to prove to do a lot of damage on both of Kyle's side, and one more 1,000 Arrows is going to knock out this Kyogre team, so Kyle's got to be careful of that.
Yeah, I mean, right now the Zygarde's still a really big threat. It is still a little bit of half health, but the Toxicroak is also going to be a really important Pokemon on Terry's side. It's not going to take any damage from the Water Spout, and no switching from Serena gets the fake out onto that Yveltal.
Kyogre just ditching that Water Spout, though, going for Ice Beam, that 4-time super effective move onto Zygarde, but Zygarde survives. Yveltal flinches, and one more 1,000 Arrows should be enough to knock out this Kyogre, and thanks to the fake out, Yveltal as well. And now Kyle has to rely on his 2 non-restricted legends to take out the rest of Terry's team.
That's actually kind of scary, because Terry really had to rely on the fact that Kyle wasn't going to switch into that Serena at any point. So, because the fake out pressure is nice, but when you have Serena, you also have to really consider Friendly Majesty. So here, the Intimidate's going to be, like, it's a little bit too late now for Kyle. He was in a really good spot before, and I think not being able to pick up knockouts with that Water Spout and the Rain boost for Water Spout was really tough. And, like, Toxicroak coming in at this time, also when Rain comes in, is nice, because it kind of negates, like, that extra damage you would get from Flare Blade. So Terry's just in a really nice spot to be able to pick up knockouts here. Like, that Zygarde being so bulky from the boost of the Misty Seed, and then the Light Screen helping out even more. I mean, but that's part of the reason why that Ice Beam did not knock out.
Well, we're going to see the Seed Bomb first from Sarina, and Terry's Zygarde is strong enough. That's amazing. That Poison Jab from Toxicroak is going to finish off Sarina, and now, at this point, with Zygarde, a Ground-type move against Incineroar, 1,000 Arrows, single target. This Incineroar is not looking good. It is going to take it with 8 damage, though, or 8 health points left, and it's gonna eat its berry. We're gonna see that Figgy Berry once again. That's the most common item on Incineroar.
Ooh,
but we're gonna see Roar. That's unusual, but I think it was smart.
I
still don't.
I'm very hesitant about that play, only because if you're at the end of this match and you haven't shown Roar, you're going into a game 2. Your Incineroar is the only Pokemon left. You're not going to be able to win this match. That's not something that you want to reveal right now, because now that Terry is aware of it for game 2, your game plan going into it is going to be, I have to be careful of this Incineroar and figure out a way to take care of it before it roars out all of the stat boosts that I've given myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that you have to consider, where you don't want to show like text like that at the end.
I'm not sure as well if that was a good move too, because I was wondering if Kyle was kind of banking on the Serena to knock out Zygarde. We see Zygarde switch back in here with this low HP. So that was an interesting play. We do see Heal Pulse from Tapu Fini, so that Zygarde's now going once again above 50% of health. And Incineroar gonna go for Flare Blitz in the rain onto this Zygarde slot. It's gonna do so little damage, and Zygarde's just naturally bulky. Even without that Misty Seed, all the stat changes were removed thanks to the Roar, and it still took that Flare Blitz like a champ.
The only reason we know that Zygarde lost HP was because it went from green to yellow. Just saying. Yeah.
That's a good point.
I mean, I think now here you're just going to be trying to solve time and figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a game that's going to go to Terry for sure.
Oh yeah.
Even without boosting the target, Ground Snare is going to do a ton of damage.
Picks up the knockout. So
good job, Terry. So there's game 1 to Terry. So going into game 2, I think the consideration is going to have to be that Incineroar has Roar.
Yeah.
And that is something that you always have to watch out for. I mean, it's a really nice tech against Xerneas, and especially Zygarde, because apparently when you're playing in Southern California, Zygarde is the thing you have to be worried about.
I know, it's weird, but I actually like seeing Zygarde. I think it's pretty fun to check out. It definitely works amazing with Tapu Fini.
I'm forever crying about the fact that I don't have a Zygarde game, XYZ.
I know.
Just,
I was waiting.
I'm allowed to cry about that.
I 100% thought we were gonna get Pokemon Z. I was waiting to buy X and Y just so I could get Z, and then they announced Sun and Moon, and I was like.
So looking back at their teams, I think both of them brought the same, the right 4 Pokemon, right? I think Serena and Incineroar are such good pivots for Kyle, and I think if he was able to capitalize or bring Yveltal in earlier and in a better position, Terry. Then it would be a lot better for him to have both 2 really pivoting Pokemon, very good support Pokemon, and again, Queenly Majesty is so nice against priority moves, and I think Terry had also the right idea here. The Toxicroak puts a lot of pressure on Kyle's team because of the fact that it has dry skin, and it makes, I think if your Kyle, it gives you pause on how often you're going to want to press Water Spout when you have a Pokemon that you can heal on the other side.
One thing I'm wondering now, going back a little bit to the Roar, was Kyle showing that Roar to prevent Terry from bringing in Zygarde on the second match? Do you think that might have been the strategy, to show that off and say, hey, I have this, you shouldn't bring Zygarde in, to try and get him to a position?
No,
or do you
because I think if you look at Terry's team, Zygarde's Solgaleo is a nice Pokemon to have on there, but its matchup against Yveltal is also really tough, because Yveltal with Assault Vest and the whole Sucker Punch thing, it's going to be really tough. I think Terry's sort of best combination against Yveltal is going to be that Zygarde. I mean, as much as I love Volcarona so much, it's not a Pokemon that you could really bring to this match, and I think Terry has kind of shown that he's very good at using Zygarde and is able to figure out how to support it and protect it, and I think this is what we're also going to see here.
Let's take a look at the 2 leads here. Now, we didn't see Zygarde last time as a lead. I don't think we're going to see it again. Part of me thinks that Roar is going to get into Terry's head. Now it's after seeing that, I was so curious. No, we had Toxicroak Tapu Fini lead last time. We have the
same time. Same thing.
Almost the same lead here. We have Tornadus now for the first time.
I like that.
And we're going to see the Rain and the Misty Surge once again. So either way, Kyle's been leading with some sort of Kyogre combination, either Serena or Tornadus. So
I don't think it's really bad. I just think that Terry understands that, and he leads the best 2 Pokemon possible against a Kyogre lead. The only issue here now is you have that Tornadus. Tornadus, having ability that Prankster ability, able to either set up Tailwind for later on, or just go straight for 100% accuracy Hurricanes in this rain. I think it's gonna be tougher for Terry because you also have that chance for. Oh shit, no, you don't have the chance for confusion. My bad. We're on Misty terrain. Whoops. So the thing is about Tornadus is it's actually a really nice support Pokemon for Kyogre here, and it's really nice against Terry's lead because that Toxicroak's now in a little bit of a tougher position, and Tapu Fini is going to take unnecessary damage if it stays in against this Tornadus.
Well, Serena is definitely a great play here, preventing Toxicroak from using that fake out. We see that Queenly Majesty that just switched in there. Tornado's gonna go for taunt on top of Finny. That's preventing Swagger on Zygarde. That's preventing Heal Pulse. Light Screen, as we see there. That's definitely gonna cause Terry a bit of trouble. And now we don't even know if his Tapu Fini has an attacking move.
Most likely it doesn't if it's the same Tapu Fini. We've seen, if it's the same Tapu Fini that we've seen all the time, it's definitely not going to have one. We are going to see that double switch out potentially here, because that Tapu Fini is literally a sitting clam dolphin thing. It's apparently a dolphin.
I don't see it.
No, if you look at its Alola Guardian move, it is a dolphin.
Okay.
Z move from the get-go here, is that
That's flying the MZ from that Tornadus. First Z move of the match. It's a bit
based
interesting.
off of Hurricane?
Probably.
I'm guessing? Gosh,
That's going to do a lot of damage.
Well,
I would imagine. Also, I'm a bit surprised we didn't see Tapu Fini switch out, so maybe it does have an attacking move.
I think part of it is that if you're Terry, you don't want something. If you're Terry, you're thinking that Kyle's expecting you to do that, so you don't want whatever Pokemon you have in the back to take endless sandwich, or you go for Icy Wind.
And there's that. So Icy Wind. Now we know that Tapu Fini's changed a little bit. The Tornadus' Z Crystal attacks, Supersonic Sky Strike, that is hard to say, is going to do half damage onto that Incineroar, while the Seed Bomb from Sarina does around half damage to the Tapu Fini. So now both the Terry's Pokemon are around the same range in that regard.
Yeah, well, what's really nice too is at least Terry was able to manage to break the Focus Sash here on the Tornadus. And he does have to worry still about the speed control option, because you still have that ability for Prankster Tailwind. But I think Terry is going to figure out a way to kind of just set himself up. Obviously, he can't bring in Zygarde in any safe spot here, or even Solgaleo if it's in the back, because you don't have access to things like Light Screen, like Swagger, and other things, and like that Heal Pulse, which is what kind of makes Tapu Fini so important to this team right now. And I think Kyle is playing this a little bit better. I'm guessing he left the Incineroar at home here, because Tornadus and Serena are both your support Pokemon. I don't think you would bring 3 support Pokemon to this.
Well, Zygarde going to switch in it from Terry's side instead of that Tapu Fini here. We see that Misty Seed activate once again, giving it another +2 in special defense. Serena's switching out into Yveltal, so yeah, he did leave out that Incineroar. But we still have an Incineroar on the field. It's Terry's side. We see the Tornadus use Hurricane first. It goes onto the Zygarde, and with that special defense boost, it does very little damage. And Incineroar going for the U-turn, most likely going to swap into that Tapu Fini. Now no longer taunted, but you still have that Tornadus on the field. You still have that taunt possibility, so that's a bit scary.
I think it's going to be a little tough, because if you're going to try to taunt that Tapu Fini one more time, you're going to sacrifice something. I think you have to figure out which you want to taunt if you're going to taunt again. Because you can either taunt Tapu Fini and keep it from setting up, or you taunt the Zygarde and keep it from coiling and protecting, right? And then you can go free to attack into it or attack that slot repeatedly. The other thing is, if you don't, then you're taking 1,000 arrows damage from, to Yveltal. I mean, this Tornadus is still also at -1, so Hurricanes are going to be slower. I think Terry has put options on the field that Kyle is going to have to make an important choice, and if he doesn't choose right, Terry can capitalize on that.
It's one of those moments where it could go either way here. We see the taunt onto the Zygarde slot, and we see Icy Wind from Tapu Fini, expecting most likely the taunt onto Tapu Fini here. The Icy Wind will help a little bit, makes Yveltal a bit slower, maybe slower than Zygarde. Tornadus now at -2, and Yveltal now going for the Oblivion Wing. Another special attack though. That's going to target the Tapu Fini, gets it down to around 20%. And Yveltal's definitely going to regain a lot of health, but so is Tapu Fini thanks to that berry there. So now all eyes on Zygarde. This is going to go for 1,000 arrows, so it looks like Terry didn't even rely on any status moves here, just wanted to attack.
And that's tough because, just barely missing out that knockout on Tornadus. Both Pokemon are here, they're actually both going to hit the ground here, but I think one more Icy Wind is going to be able to do it on this Tornadus. The problem is Tornadus can now go taunt the Tapu Fini as well, which means Terry's going to be in a spot where neither Pokemon can actually go for a protect right now. And Yveltal is kind of free to just keep going for Oblivion Wings and set itself up even more, because now it's not really threatened by a lot here. Oh god, I forgot about that.
Yeah, Zygarde going to go for extreme speed, and that means Tapu Fini is going to survive.
The critical hit mattered.
The critical hit, there you go.
Critical hit always
Critical hit on 10 damage. Well, the light screen comes up for Tapu Fini, and that means Zygarde's, this Oblivion Wing on the Zygarde is not going to do very much at all. Or Tapu Fini here either, for that matter. Tapu Fini
I
down to
think
the half
Tapu Fini is
health.
the biggest. I think Tapu Fini is 100% the bigger threat
Oh,
here
yeah.
because Tapu Fini is able to go for the heal pulses, goes for the light screen, go for the things that make it really annoying to deal with overall. If you knock it out or get it into the red, then it's just basically, like dead weight because of the fact that it's already eaten its berry. But I think Kyle is still in an okay spot.
Yeah.
You've got the Oblivion Wing, you've got the Water Spout. Zygarde's not really completely set up yet, and I think now Terry is in the spot where he has to. He can go for heal pulses. He can go for swagger. Actually, this is the part where you are like nervous about swaggering because you don't have basic terrain. So Terry's gonna be forced to reset terrain if he wants to be able to do the side swagger. And as we all know, if you're playing Zygarde and side swagger, you have like a 90% chance of missing. So
That's the rule of
actually,
Zygarde.
it's more like a 100% chance of missing on stream. So
I know. Very rarely have we ever seen Swagger work, it feels like.
For between Ben and Terry, I think I've seen more swagger misses than I ever have in my entire life. I didn't even know swagger could miss until I saw them play. I was like, wait, that's not 100% accuracy move? Well,
I mean, it happens. But either way, I think that Terry is going to have to... I actually thought he was going to switch out this Tapu Fini into Toxicroak, sorry. And try and prevent any big damage. But we are going to see Tapu Fini go down, and now this Zygarde can't rely on Heal Pulse, can't rely on Swagger, can't rely on Light Screen anymore. It gets a decent 1,000 arrows off. It actually crit on Kyogre, and that did 75 damage, so it's not very strong. We see the foul play does around 40%, where one more is going to get rid of Zygarde if it didn't have complete form.
It's enough to get it into complete form, which I think, man, guys, Yveltal with Assault Vest is so annoying. You've got, foul play, you've got Oblivion Wing. Like, this is just so frustrating, I think, if you're playing against Yveltal. But, I mean, Terry's a tougher position here. Losing Tapu Fini is really hard. You've got to make the most of Light Screen while you still can. And Toxicroak, even if it's potentially got a Soul Vest, is not going to be able to deal with Thunders very well. And even if you have Fake Out potential, the Serena's in the back to be able to switch in here. And I think if you're Kyle, you're okay switching Serena into the Kyogre spot because then you've got the Queenly Majesty, and you can also reset Kyogre because you don't want a Kyogre locked into Thunder being on the field for too long, because if it comes down to just the Zygarde and Kyogre, you're going to lose. Yeah,
and we see that Serena switch in. So Terry gotta be scared, a bit scared. We see Poison Jab. Diz gonna connect with the Serena here. It actually knocks it out, and that because the Intimidate, the Intimidate last time did definitely phased it there. 1,000 arrows, single target onto this Yveltal, gets down to 60 damage remaining. But this is where I was really eyeing this Oblivion Wing onto this Toxicroak with the Assault Vest. Most likely does 60%. That's not gonna survive another turn. I think the Icy would help there because we saw Toxicroak was faster, and that might be enough to survive another turn if Terry's able to play it right. I don't know.
But here's your tough part now, because your Kyogre's back on the field. If you have another water type move besides Water Spout, this would be a good time to click it because you want to get rid of that Zygarde, right? The problem is if you don't have a single target water type move, then you're going to be helping heal that Toxicroak as well. That Toxicroak can be really scary. But on the other hand, you've also got Oblivion Wing and the heal up and the cycle that can go through. But having both Zygarde and Toxicroak, now you're going to be forced as that Kyogre to make a choice of what move you're going to lock yourself into. I mean, Terry's still got, one Pokemon in the back, but I think right now Terry's just kind of in a spot where he's making Kyle, have harder choices than Kyle would want.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to word that sentence
No,
properly.
you did fine. You did fine. I'm wondering as well.
Sucker Punch. I'm expecting a Sucker Punch.
I think that might actually do enough to get rid of that Toxicroak. Yeah. Toxicroak's gonna swap out though, and we're gonna see it go into Terry's final Pokemon, the Incineroar, at half health. If we see Water Spout here or Origin Pulse, a double target water move, Kyle really might have has just taken this. We see Zygarde protect first. Let's see if this Sucker Punch is gonna come out here. We're gonna see Water Spout from Kyogre, so no Sucker Punch. Water Spout with 100 damage. I think it does around 60% of its normal damage.
What?
Incineroar actually takes it.
Wow.
Foul play onto the Zygarde slot, and now Terry has Fake Out. Oof. That was not what Kyle wanted at all.
That's definitely not what you want. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you still don't know Yveltal's last, so Foul play, Oblivion Wing, and there was one more move. No, there wasn't. Those are the only two we've seen. What am I talking about? Yeah. I mean, I think now it's tough because you kind of wanted. It would have been nice to have that knockout, right? Because then you don't have to worry about fake out. You don't have Serena anymore for that. Kyogre won't be able to protect because now we're assuming it's locked into Water Spout here. You're gonna stop that from happening. You're gonna stop your belt. Oh.
We see Yveltal get faked out though. And
okay.
Water Spout once again coming out from Kyogre, and it does nothing.
Yeah,
because
you know that your Zygarde can take it, and then you go for 1,000 arrows. You get more damage onto that Yveltal. You get fake out again. You know your Zygarde can take it up once more. And man, this Yveltal is. Oh, actually, will you survive it last life? I mean, like Water Spout was not going to do anything. If you're stuck in that, then you're stuck in it. You fake out one more time, I think, into. You fake out one more time into Yveltal because this Kyogre is.
It's gonna Water Spout and just heal up your Toxic.
It's not a threat. It's a huggable whale at this point.
Yeah. We see that fake out going on to the Yveltal as expected. Kyogre goes for that Water Spout, and Toxicroak gets healed.
Terry's sitting here and he's like, not the Pokemon I was expecting to heal, but thanks anyway.
Yeah. Water Spout does nothing on Zygarde. I think it does like 2 damage and 1,000 arrows. At the current levels of Kyle's Pokemon, Yveltal took it.
I mean, there's nothing Kyle can do to win this.
No,
like, it's impossible.
It's harsh. I think his best option right now would just to be Sucker Punch on something and just hope for the best, but that's pretty much impossible.
I mean, you just double attack.
Yeah.
You could poison jab.
No, there's nothing that Terry could have done there.
Let's say you poison jab, you 1,000 arrows, like, barring 18 misses, like, Kyle.
And Terry's gonna take the game.
Yep. Cool.
There you go.
I heard Kyle say he misclicked somewhere, I guess. I don't really know. Anyway.
Well, now I want to go back on YouTube and watch this later and see.
He misclicked?
See where he thought he misclicked.
You can ask him. He's
yeah,
right there.
I know.
So. Hey guys, so that was round 1. We have 5 more rounds of that today. I think we might have Splatoon 2 set up over there. I'll be getting another different co-caster for that one. So don't go anywhere. So also congrats to the people who won Moon events this weekend. I know there was a LATAM special event, and I know that there was one in Europe, the city of which I can't say properly, but congratulations to Yuri for winning that. Bolzano, I think? I should not have tried that. Anyway, see you guys in a little bit for whatever game we're streaming next.